there you go. We'll take a look at our map bans. Again, I really think this is going to be played around the maps. NIP definitely need the morale advantage because everybody's been looking forward to seeing them play at the top level. And there you go. Consulate and Oregon have been removed. Oregon, especially a map that NIP are very famous for with that roam smoke with WOG, even at times putting a suppressor on an SMG-11 and playing in the bunks, which is...
Yeah, I mean, they played Oregon yesterday against Liquid, and that's how they managed to get that draw. So very impressive from them. And, well, it's off the board now, so they're going to have to go somewhere else. Consulate also, that was NIP's map, or sorry, it was Black Dragon's map, or BootKamp. Well, it was BootKamp and Black Dragons yesterday. But it was the map that they went to, and BootKamp managed to take that one 6-0.
All right, well, we'll see where this goes. Coastline will be our first ban. Clubhouse, Villa, and Bank leaves us with Border. All right.
Interesting. Okay, so Border, the map of choice here. And that was a fast series of bans. Villa was banned out by NIP, so they are obviously trying to stay away from the abnormal. I like that we have Border being brought out. We haven't seen it yet today. In fact, we've been seeing a good diversity of maps. We haven't even seen Border. We didn't see Border yesterday either. So, some new stuff.
I mean, after seeing 4 times Border, for I think it was the first or second Pro League day.
It was one or the other. Yeah.
It was within the first week.
Mm-hmm.
It was
the first Super Week.
Yeah, it was actually very interesting for Emzo and I to see that happening. And, you know, evolving in front of us as so many different ways of playing on Border within the same day. And you know what? Some people might say, oh, but we saw the same map, blah, blah, blah. You're not seeing the same map being played by the same teams in the same way. Every single team has a different play style, even though they might resemble one another. That's why you need to pay attention to the details. As they say, the devil is always in those details.
Yeah, and I imagine it was interesting to see all those different variations on the strategies and whatnot, but we're only going to see one variation on the strategy from each teams today, so 2 total. But, you know, the map is decided, but we don't know how exactly it'll be played out. You know, there's still so much variance before, you know, after the map ban phase. You still have the operator ban phase, and things can really change in that zone.
And speaking of which, any specific operators that you might see banned here between these two? I mean, we saw Smoke banned a couple of games ago. Would this actually happen against NIP?
Well, the thing about Border and these teams, I think that these are 2 very diverse squads. The way that they can actually play. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything in particular. Maybe a Blitz ban, possibly a Thermite ban. We have seen stuff like that. We have seen Thermite bans on Border before in an attempt to rattle your opponents, and it's actually it's a great strategy if you practice into it. Yeah. But no, I wouldn't say there's anything in particular that I'm gonna count on in this operator ban phase. It really could be anything.
Yeah, I see the blitz. Julio plays a mean blitz on the attack and also a pretty good Mira on defense, which is why you might see both operators being banned. As you know, Mira has become more of a staple ban, to say the least.
Yeah, Mira,
50%
ban rate as of the beginning of today, possibly a little bit higher at the end of the day, and it will be a little bit higher at the end of the day, I believe. We will actually know. It'll be lower if she doesn't get banned. If she doesn't get banned in this match, so who knows? I mean, we'll see. It's definitely possible, in fact, probable that she'll be banned. The Blitz one, again, you know, because of Julio, it's another thing you have to consider. But no, there's nothing in particular that's going to lock it out.
I'd like to see what they set up on the defense. We've seen a lot of not only Mira bans, but Maestro and Echo, and both operators are pretty strong on Border as well.
I would expect the Echo ban, definitely. But that's just bans. I mean, there's so much theory crafting we could do around the operator bans because it's... Honestly, it's the sort of deal where you could do anything you want. I didn't expect Thermite bans on Border from SK in an attempt to rattle their opponents and put them into a zone where they can't hit, they don't know what they're getting themselves into. And that's just why the ban phase is so wonderful and why it changes up our meta in such a magnificent way that we can see new strategies and unpredictable ones at that very often. And hopefully we'll get to see something similar in this match, maybe something that'll sweep us off our feet and show us something completely new.
All right, well, our bands are just starting up, so let's head into game border between BootKamp and Ninjas in Pyjamas. All right, there you go. First attacker ban will go for NIP. And honestly, there's so many operators that work so well in the attack on border, so we can't exactly tell what they'd go for, but you mentioned the Thermite, and that'll be the first op ban. Second attack ban will be for BootKamp. Maybe we'll see Blitz banned out, as NIP are very much well known for their trickeries on the Blitz.
Okay, so it was discovered. Let me explain that Thermite ban for you guys real quick. It was discovered recently, and then Lion, the second attacker banned. That stands to reason. But it was discovered recently that if you ban Thermite on border, it becomes exceptionally difficult to attack onto pretty much every site. Thermite is an integral part of your attack usually on this map. Now you could do without him, but it's, like I said, difficult. Mira being banned is no big surprise, as you theorized. So her ban rate will actually stay the same, 50% for Latin America.
And then the last one is usually between the Maestro and the Echo, or sometimes we'll see a Jaeger ban, depending on what you're expecting, or a Mute or a Bandit. We've actually seen those a couple of times. It'll be the Echo. You know what? This is very, very standard. You can see these 4 operators being banned on literally every single map.
Yep.
So, not too surprising.
Yeah, no, nothing at all surprising about that operator ban phase. And the nip ban of Thermite, very tactical, smart play there. They will be starting on defense first, which means they're going to have a huge advantage. Nip is going to be banking hard on getting the first 4 rounds at least, at least 4 rounds in the first half. That's what they need to get to make that Thermite ban worth it. And if they can get 5 rounds, then of course that's going to make their lives so much easier when they go into that second half. The lack of a Lion also going to hurt the attackers a lot, but the Mira and Echo bans also kind of equalizing this a little bit. I mean, if you don't have a Thermite, you can't open the A wall, you can't open any of the Teller's walls. You know, there's a lot of stuff that's going to slow you down. You could do it with Hibana, but it's not really going to be enough to make an actual attack happen. And that's something you have to consider. But also, without a Mira, without a Yokai, it's so hard to indirectly influence a push through any walls that are open. So if Hibana holes are made, then they are a lot more useful when you don't have to face a Mira window.
All right, we'll head into our first round as NIP are on the defense. And I like the fact that BootKamp don't really want to play any games. They just go in for a Thatcher. You know what, you can bring your Bandit, you can do whatever you want. We're just going to deal with them immediately, and we can just continue playing on, using our Monty to our advantage. Using him to just stand in front and protect Seiya to throw in his Ying Candelas, but NIP are setting up, and they're going to reinforce things here in the offices. Of course, with Mira banned, won't be seeing any holds around CCTV or around Fountain, which was very, very popular in Season 7.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've really seen people lean into that, and again, like you said, it's not really feasible without the Mira. It's doable, but it's not practical.
Yeah. Can definitely be eased by the amount of utility that Mira brings. M-King protecting here just in case there's somebody peeking out. That's throwing in his first EMP. Very quick here from BootKamp, establishing map control.
It seems like BootKamp is putting a lot of emphasis on that B site early on, but they also have a little bit of a spread out attack here as M-King's over on the A wall. And I don't know how I feel about this split. It leaves them very light. It means that if there's any amount of aggression from Ninjas in Pyjamas, they get any of those early kills, there's not going to be a lot of potential for response from BootKamp, given how sparsely they're spread out.
Paulo on the Zofia. He's going to use his first lifeline, possibly to open things up here. And have a line of sight directly in the doorway. M-King is already droned in. I like the drone positioning here. Unfortunately, I get spotted by Bandit shuffling around a bit too much. EMP is going to get thrown in by Thatcher as Paulo sprang into the side. And there you go. First Bandit battery will take the Skyros out. That was a bit of a bait there, but the last EMP was just thrown. So
yeah, it's very aggressive Thatcher grenades, and
I'm not sold on it.
Nor I, Kassan, nor I. It doesn't seem like it's going to be working out great for them in this round. One of the Excaros used, not sure what Intact's up to there. Maybe he's just going for the repel, a little bit of safety in that. Paula's going to deny the Bandit tricking from below, so the Thatcher grenade, or Thatcher EMP is not necessary. technically, but Julio's still got the ability to bandit trick, and he's trying to challenge as best as he can.
Yeah, he has a shockwire already set up, and he has another one in his back pocket. So unless Palu comes in and actually fights against him, this will be very complicated. There we go. He still tricks the battery, and from behind, Wog moving in on the smoke will get a kill on Intact. So now, no Habana, no Kairos, no nothing, and BootKamp will have to completely rethink their attack at 46 seconds on the clock.
This is why the Thermite Ban is oh so useful here, and as Kamikaze gets duds, it's looking even worse for BootKamp. Paula's looking for the refrag, and he's not going to... Oh, he does actually spot the Jaeger of Kamikaze. What a shot, what a read from Paula. He's been so good at these strafing angles historically and in this round as well. And he's going to start opening his way into the B site, using those lifelines to try and get the player inside a fountain. He's unsuccessful, though, and M-King's going to have to compensate. Julio Getsea, though, leaving M-King as the last attacker. Second for M-King. He goes for the third. He cannot secure it. Psycho wins the round, and Ninjas in Pyjamas will take that first defense, all thanks to a Thermite Ban.
Yeah, it's a valiant effort from the Monty at the end, but unfortunately, when you have to rethink your whole strategy with so little time on the clock, it's not going to work out. I think they're over-relied on the EMPs and thought, you know what? We throw in an EMP, the bandit is going to sit behind half wall and not go up. Little did they know, actually they probably do know this, that Julia's on the other side. And you got to be very careful about what you do, because he's never afraid to get in your face, and especially if it means that your entire push will get denied because you can't really go through that wall. You're not going to walk in through the doorway and get shot from every single angle, even with the Monty in front.
Yeah, here's the thing. It all started with the Thermite Ban and the cascade from there. No Thermite means an armory wall take is very difficult. Then we saw BootKamp fall into the trap of trying to go for an armory wall take, and that didn't work out great for them. After they fell into that trap, they tried to use, like you said, that Thatcher, and they relied on him. And they didn't go for the vertical pressure from below, which is confusing.
Yes,
usually
you have a
that.
Zofia.
Yeah.
And why would you throw all 3 EMPs when in the first minute, one of them being on ventilation and the other one being thrown into the side of the wall to basically try and hit the office in the armor?
And then from there, once they did eventually go for the Zofia to deny the batteries, they still couldn't make that happen because at that point they'd already lost their Habana, and the rotation was so late. On top of that, in the midst of the rotation, Ninjas in Pyjamas got aggressive and they tore the rotation apart. So it was just a really poorly executed round from BootKamp and a nice defense from Ninjas in Pyjamas and good use of that operator ban phase. Now, while we've been talking about that, what's going on here, Gassan? A Teller's defense,
Yeah.
very interesting, very different, and you just don't often see this as your primary bomb site, the first or the secondary one. And it's really cool to see Nip go for this.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This site is hit and miss. So you see some teams that absolutely demolish an attack, and some others that just have no idea how to deal with it, because the instant you lose the archives and the fountain plus office, you pretty much lose this entire defense.
Yeah.
Unless you have a manpower advantage. And even then, it's no easy feat to try and retake with the way that attackers will usually set up for a post-plant defense. So I see this as you cannot stay in the armory. If you stay in the armory, you're basically giving the round away because you lose manpower on the other parts of the map that are oh so important.
Usually the way this is defended is vertically, and you can see that's exactly what's going on right now from Nip. The confrontation here is going to be between M-King and PZD initially. The Blitz, a really good operator to clear in here, but he's used poorly from BootKamp, and PZD is able to secure that kill with the assistance from Psycho. And that's going to mean Ninjas in Pyjamas can maintain control over Office's archives, which is, like we talked about, the primary way to defend the Tellers. Now, PZD playing aggressive on this hallway. He's being challenged by Paula, and it's a very difficult thing to win that fight. He's going to go for the C4, and that will ultimately miss. And after that, just falls back to site. Probably the right call, but he's left his teammates stranded. That's Psycho all alone now.
Yeah, there's not enough manpower theoretically here from Nip, but because of the fact they're able to push away the Blitz, the attackers have to rethink their strategy in the push, and there you go. They push into the armory, realizing there's only one player in there, and they still end up getting 2 kills off of it. One of them is the smoke, the second is the Jaeger, and PZD on the bandit is low on health. He has already dropped, as you just mentioned, but Psycho just needs the SMG. 11, 2 kills for him, but intact, quickly turning it into a 2v2 with 43 seconds on the clock. Julio's goo mines are going to be essential for this defense, as well as information being relayed to PZD. He's going to go in and find the headshot on Intact. Desea all the way, so far away. He's waiting to push in from the balcony and contest from the window. Unfortunately, he's left all on his own, and he has pretty much no information to play off of, as the defenders will hear him shuffle up top. Jump down, goes in for the shot, gets the kill on PZD. 8 seconds left on the clock, and Julio cannot put himself out. He's watching the rotation on the bathroom as the goo mine is being hit. Julio stays on the floor, and Seiya cannot find the kill.
You can see there a little bit of a knife of frustration. And BootKamp, 2 rounds lost in a row. Now they will be going to that third, and Ninjas in Pyjamas, their third site, which will be Ventilation Workshop. The mix-up there for NIP that allowed the win apparently was moving over towards Tellers. It definitely caught BootKamp off guard and allowed for them to have a little bit of an edge in the round. A big part of it was, though, Psycho with the double kill in offices. Now, it was sure just a double kill, but also it forced BootKamp to reevaluate where they had a decision. They knew where they wanted to go, and that was the offices. And clearly that was the right choice. That's how you defend the site. You defend it vertically. But they lost the blitz early on. He accomplished nothing. And then Psycho was able to linger in offices for so long in that round to get that double kill. It just was a prickly roam, and BootKamp had nothing to really confront it with.
Unfortunately, even though things went the way of NIP early on, it was direct push from BootKamp, realizing we shouldn't be pushing in from the hallway. We should take Armory, because that's much easier for us to take control of. And then from there, have multiple angles coming into Archives and Fountain, and eventually into the office. Wasn't the case. They lost the blitz early on and brought it back. But you know what? At the end, it's NIP that take the round and put that 2 on the board. But still, M-King and the squad of BootKamp on the attack, as NIP will go for more of a standard site, usually your second site to go to if you're on the defense, which is Ventilation and Workshop. And I wonder how much they're going to set up when it comes to top floor defense.
5 seconds to go.
It's probably going to be pretty heavy. I mean, the way that they held Tellers means that they're conscious of how necessary vertical play is on border on these bottom bomb sites. They're setting up a lot of reinforcements already on the top floor. They got that barbed wire and CCTV. I mean, yeah, they're going to contend this top floor as long as they can, I'm sure. And we'll see how BootKamp choose to confront it. Now, this is really interesting. Paula's actually rotated onto Sledge. Paula has, through yesterday and even in the first round today, been very heavy on that Sophia, but not so in the last 2 rounds. It's an interesting rotation because of his success, though. That's what really makes me question it. I'm sure he's going to be very successful with Sledge as well. He has been good in the role that both operators fill, but yeah, something to question.
Oh, PZD gets the headshot on Intact as he still plays in the back, and nowadays Ella actually has to reload her gun. PZD will just drop on down and sit in customs as you see Psycho in detention, waiting for his opponents to come in. As usually when you spot this site, if you're on the attacking side and you see that detention is not reinforced, you just go in, pop it once, and just, you know, have one area where potentially an IQ is pinching.
I really don't like what I'm seeing right now from BootKamp. They just had to clear CCTV dry. That means that there were no players on BootKamp droning CCTV to affirm that it is, yes, indeed clear. They had to check every little nook and cranny themselves. And that just, not only does it waste a lot of time, it is very telling of poor coordination.
Very much indicative of a lack of communication. I guess at this point we can keep adding big words.
Yeah, we can pile on there. It's, either way, the point here is that BootKamp are clearly struggling to work together.
Yep, and the thing is, they've been locked into this one-dimensional style of play, which is, oh, let's just all come in through the one door, and we don't know what to do later.
And here's the confusing thing now. They've taken control over the top floor, and they really do have it. As M King gets kamikaze, that will, really reinforce that point. But they haven't really situated themselves to make a site push. With only 42 seconds, they need to start making the rotation, start getting into position, and figuring out where they actually want to plant that diffuser. They need to play the objective.
Yeah, so one gas canister to be used, and here it goes. Palu coming in from the side into the workshop. They'll get pushed. Cannot finish off PZD here. Just sprays in again. PZD has gotten so much out of the Ella as Wog gets one shot on King, and that's him out of play. Palu coming into the server as you'll hear the Ella drop. PZD's on the floor. Get finished off. No, Julio from the side gets the kill. Psycho, the last kill. With that SMG-12 sitting on the side using the Vigil ERC, and you know what? You can't really drone that op out. And that's round number 3 on the board for NIP.
Every single one of these rounds, Ninjas and Pyjamas has had a distinct edge that is harder to see because it's as a result of a lack of thermite. And it's hard to tell because in the first round, you got Armory, and obviously the reason the lack of thermite hurts them, hurts BootKamp is because they're taking in through Armory wall. They can't open the wall. And then the second round, it's a teller's defense. But then you can't even open the external wall, really, in any way that you can make it work for you. But before then, you even need to take the top floor. You can't open the fountain wall. You can't open the archives wall. You can't. There's so many different things. And then finally, ventilation, it's the same deal for tellers. I mean, you want to push in through tellers. You want to go open the bathroom wall. You want to get your way into the site, and you can't do that. So what do? You default to vertical play. But, oh, what's this? Ninjas and Pyjamas are counting on that, waiting for it, expecting it, and playing around it. So every single one of these rounds, in a sense, BootKamp have been falling into the trap that Ninjas and Pyjamas has pre-placed, and it's working out great for them. I did talk about this, however, before the match even started, where if NIP can't get at least 4-round victories on defense, they're going to struggle when they get to attack for the same reason BootKamp are struggling now. So with 3 on the board, they need at least 1 more to be safe, and if they get full 5 rounds on defense, then it's almost a sure thing. Well, I mean, it's a sure tie, but almost a sure win as well.
And, you know, with Thermite being banned, you're expecting some sort of advantage for the attackers. But already 3 rounds on the board for the defenders, it definitely works out well. And, you know, Mira and Echo being removed for the defenders, we don't see a Maestro. But at the same time, we see NIP having great success.
Yeah, they've worked around the operator bans. We've talked about this a couple times throughout the season, but there's certain teams that are really adapting to and embracing the operator ban phase, and there are some teams that just seem to be a little bit behind the curve in their understanding of it. And clearly, NIP are the former team who are ready to deal with this new system.
Yeah, and, you know, the things that I see here are good adaptation from BootKamp in the round. They have a Twitch, they have a Zofia, they have an IQ. Great things to bring when you want to deal with Julio's bandit batteries. So that's already one positive point here. We'll see how they can push him back, because if they can get the kill on him and take down the batteries, great start.
Now, big ups for the operator changes. Intact going to drone out. Interesting there. He can, also just use his IQ scanner. But preps the nade, chooses not to go for it. There are other operators who can do the job Intact is trying to do right now. And meanwhile, IQ has some very specific roles that, as an operator, she can do herself, but no one else can do. So it's kind of interesting to see Intact on that front door, and maybe not Paula, for example, with the Zofia.
So picking in here just to hold back rotation. The wall in the back is not reinforced in the archive.
Interesting.
Yeah, and finally we'll see grenade being used up, but there's still shock wires here available for Julio, and even Kamikaze waiting around. Seiya will go down, pushing in with no support at all. PZD getting the kills. Intact will rotate. Intact, use your electronics detector. It exists for a reason, my man.
We actually have seen a number of players before in Pro League and in other places where IQ is picked and played, but not actually utilized even a little bit. Of course, you know, we're not only watching Intact. Maybe maybe he's been sneaking it in while we haven't been on him. But yeah, he needs to use that electronic scanner to gather information for his squad. Now you can see that the wall into offices has been opened up, but that's the only hard destruction that's available for BootKamp. A missed shot there from M-King, but Intact there with the gun from behind. Will get 2, not the 3rd though, as Psycho rotates into offices before falling down. He equalizes this out into a 3-on-3. The Pyjamas have taken considerable losses on the opposite side, but they still can fight back.
Yeah, and the interesting part is that all the walls are soft. What is that? Kamikaze, the headshot on M-King as he waits for the second. Paulo, though, wins this out as he takes half damage. Psycho coming in from the back as the barbed wire. Can he slow walk through this? Yes, he can. The diffuser's on the floor, and Psycho, so smart, runs back. Make sure that the Dokkaebi here cannot go for the diffuser as easily. Finally, it's going to get picked up, but Psycho in the meantime peeks in for the kill. NIP with beautiful coordination. I have to say, the fact that NIP went and played a DreamHack Valencia definitely shows here, because they're able to put themselves back in the correct mindset. This is something we saw Rogue doing. They're playing in their NA Playday a couple of days ago. We're going to LAN, sitting down with your teammates and preparing yourself mentally for the teamwork helps you a ton in Pro League.
Yeah, on the other hand, BootKamp in that last round, it was really monkey see, monkey do. The same exact location of death there for the last two attackers, trying to retrieve the diffuser and get themselves into sight, go for that plant, and it just couldn't happen because Kamikaze was playing it oh so perfectly. Overall, it was a great round from NIP, that's for sure.
Use your electronics detector!
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't even think he used it. If he did use it once, it was not for very long, because we didn't see him throughout the entire round, sure, but we were on him a considerable
This is like watching Skies, because he always picks IQ and never actually uses his utility.
I mean, to be fair to Skies, in his defense, he's usually on a roll that's just kind of off, you know, and it's in a distant place that's not exactly ideal for collecting information, and that could be down to the communication, coordination, and strategy that the team is establishing before the match even starts. So, you know, maybe it's just a case of him, you know, being put in an odd spot. But in this case, it has been some really weird situations where you would have, yeah, sure, you'd expect the electronics device to be used more. But regardless, Ninjas and Pyjamas meeting their quota, getting those 4 rounds. They need one more to end this half perfect, and then they'll put themselves in a almost certain victory situation. As much as I believe that the defenders are definitely on the winning side here no matter what because of the thermite ban, I don't know how easy it is to come back from a 5-0 situation, no matter what the operating bans are.
You know, one thing that I like here is the wall from the CCTV office being impacted, like the criteria, so you can look into the open area.
Yeah,
we've seen that work so well against the teams that have a rough start in the round, can't really find a crack in the defender setup, and then just, you know, rush down through the stairs and from customs to try and go for a plant. And unfortunately, that hole is designed to counter it.
Yeah, well, BootKamp need every advantage they could get right now. If they could get a pick here or there, just anything to start themselves off positively in this round, that's what needs to happen. Like, if this nade can get the bandit, Attack's going to throw it in, and it actually lands in the middle of this opening. I mean, it doesn't go anywhere from the roof. The second nade does finally get the bandit batteries, but it will not get the kill. In fact, it does very little damage to PZD, and he's going to be able to continue to bandit trick the wall. So a really ineffectual grenade from above. But all the while, the Teller's wall has been opened, so a good amount of control into the site, and Seiya will get PZD from the window in offices. Poor positioning there from PZD to allow that to happen.
Yeah, you should always be expecting somebody on that balcony to peek through the window, and you know, there was literally like 3 or 4 different positions for him to use there to his advantage. Unfortunately, goes for the one that's way too exposed, and now Archives will get taken up by BootKamp. They still hear some calls going around as the goo mines will hit dust, but that was the last logic bomb as Kamikaze gets one and no damage with it, but M-King will refrag on to Wog. The Bucket already done his early work with the grenades. Unfortunately, now he cannot be used to open holes into the site.
So this is really good for BootKamp. They need this round to salvage the match. And meanwhile, Ninjas and Pyjamas only have to hold on for 50 more seconds, and they have good positions. And since they don't have to deal with that soft destruction anymore, this might actually still be doable for Nip. And having the X factor of Psycho on that roam in customs could be the saving grace in the end once the final push comes out.
Psycho going in for the kill in the office. We'll get one in customs as Palu out of play. We'll remove the Zofia that did not use her lifelines to drop in. Where was the drone? CS sprays in, but the diffuser will get set. So now it's up to NIP to go for the retake. Psycho is still in customs, awaiting his squad mates to go back on the site. M-King on the outside as the drones will give information to the attackers. In this case, they kind of turn themselves into the defenders as they watch the long sight lines with their ACOGs. Every advantage in hand. No push yet from NIP for this retake as M-King will get one. Pulls up the bearing 9. Kamikaze just from the spray, but cannot get the kill here on M-King. The jump out from Psycho will get one. He does not get the second in the back as Dust jumps on in, and from behind, he'll take him out as it turned into a 1v1. Psycho cannot 180 and go for the kill on the Dokkaebi, and that was the end of it. The first round put on the board for BootKamp, and not a second too soon.
So that was potentially a salvage from BootKamp. If they had lost that round, it probably would have been all over. But now there is potential for a comeback. We could see this go BootKamp's favor, considering how defender-favored this map is with a Thermite band. Now, the defensive bans are also pretty harsh on the defenders. So your Mira and your Echo, that's going to hurt, but it's just not the same as a Thermite.
That's true here, and we'll see Glaz being picked up for Psycho. As you know what, this setup works out fine. You get extra smokes to play with as well. The Blitz is going to be played as well with Julio. So you know what, the next round will hopefully, if not mistaken, tell people why Blitz has to be banned against NIP with Julio on the squad. Now you have six smoke grenades that can be used. They help the Glass a ton. You have the Habana as well. And of course, you have the fragmentation grenades on the sledge with the Dokkaebi that'll more often than not go into CCTV and then just run around in the hallway and get kills in the opposite combo with her calls.
Yeah, it's a really nice attacking kit from Nip, and I think you gotta imagine they're really expecting what they're getting themselves into in terms of that ban phase. So I really like this lineup. Well, we have to wait and see how it actually plays out. Now, Seiya. Oh no, what are you doing, Seiya? Please, I'm really hoping right now that he's not doing what he's doing. Oh, he's just messing with us. He's opening the door just to open the door. Sometimes just going for the fight is not the best idea. This actually could really bite him, but it also could get him a free kill. It just really depends on how responsive his opponents are. Missed shot there from Seiya means his position's given away, and he's gonna. Oh no, no, Seiya, no. Just leave it, man. You know?
Let it go.
Let it go. You don't have to kill someone immediately. You are facing total defeat right now. You're just a round away from a draw, and then one more from a loss. You gotta play this objectively, man.
And it's an odd thing because seeing as how BootKamp had the, you know, the amount of plants on their squad, it's like 10 in total in the first 4 days.
Right.
You would expect them to be more focused on the objective itself here, but you know, obviously the shots coming out first. Going to be a problem with the drones coming in.
See, this is the problem. He's just been droned out in cafeteria. He will use those impacts to clear some of the drones and hopefully do some damage, but not the case. But he's also simultaneously cleared his own barbed wire, and now it's going to be a hard hold in the cafeteria by himself. He does have support from CCTV, so a little bit of a crossfire being established, and that's why Julio isn't making this push right now. You can see Seiya has been down, though, from, I believe, the nade of PZD, and the second nade, the follow-up, will get that kill. So out of position, and now out of play is the Rook. And the armor is not going to help you post-mortem, but at least he's done his job in terms of his utility.
Yeah, Dud's going in for the run-up, but Julio, so smart, coming in to protect his teammates from the back, and BootKamp find themselves on the backhand as they have a setup. You know, it's a bit cheesy. We've been seeing a bit of it as well with the half reinforcement on the armory wall. It does rely on very aggressive play from the defense to contest their opponents. Unfortunately, when you have to deal with this exact setup from NiP, it's not going to work out.
So this is really cool from NiP. They've actually gotten a full rotation to the B side. Paula's going to get Psycho, so no more seeing through smokes. That was a good play from Paula to disable the glass, and that means the other smokes from the attackers will be useful, yes, but they won't be one-sided. They will just deny information. Meanwhile, Smoke himself with the gas canisters is going to be able to slow this down. So the rotation from NiP is actually working against them, and BootKamp have equalized in a sense in that they now only have to wait for this round to end.
Yeah, what NIP need is a push from a different angle to help, as Intact is sitting on the side. MKing with one. Intact will connect with the shotgun as PZD will go down. C4 is out, and bye-bye PZD. BootKamp coming back, putting that second round on the board, as every single point and every single second of this round, everything was going against them. And somehow, they clawed back, rotating around and using their equipment to their advantage.
I really do like the rotation from NiP going for the B bomb site. However, it was playing right into the defense of BootKamp. They didn't catch BK off guard. They, in fact, fell into the trap. And yeah, it was a good read from NiP. It was a good rotation from NiP, but ultimately didn't work out for NiP. So hopefully for them, they'll make some changes, and they'll see that they get implemented next round. I do like it. I wish that I wish they just committed fully to the A take. It probably would have worked out better for them. The interesting thing too is when BootKamp fell off of CCTV, NiP also fell off of CCTV. They said, okay, well they're holding in CCTV, so let's just go somewhere else. And it was really poor timing on NiP's side.
Yeah, Alibi being played here by BootKamp. So it is all up to BootKamp to try and bring this one back. As you mentioned in the round before, it's only one round separating NIP from a minimum of 1 point. Now, what NiP really need are the 3 points on the board, and they cannot sink into another quote-unquote NIP mindset and lose it out when they have the advantage.
Yeah, and that's really what they do have. I mean, they should be, I think, in my opinion, they should be at 5-1 right now. That last round was theirs. They just chose to rotate off of a CCTV take the second that the defenders forfeited CCTV, so they made a really poor decision. I'm always an advocate for rotation. It just didn't work out for them. And now they're going to have to attack onto Ventilation Workshop, and they have a good kit for it. Lighter on the smokes, heavier on the fragging power.
Yeah, and that's something that I guess NIP has kind of realized about their own playstyle and skill against BootKamp, and very wisely they might have been expecting a peek from Vigil or a Rook. Not going to be the case here, but MKing's position, we've seen this played by quite a few people, especially in the past week of DreamHack. Just waiting around for a jump and getting pretty much a free kill off of it, but MKing will fall back as Paulo setting up his last Prisma on the Alibi. Oddly enough, playing close up to the site, as right now they're kind of relying on the Vigil as well to spread out with her. MKing will contest this. He hears the Ash charge going off as see Intact even taking half health.
A little bit of damage done, and could potentially be some important damage moving forward. NiP are heavily focused on taking Armory right now. They want to play the vertical game. They do have that sledge, so once they have Armory control, they can use that to start opening the floor, but they're spending a lot of time fixated on this, and it doesn't seem like the defenders are even hard anchoring. They're just going for the peels. As soon as they feel pressure, they fall off, and NiP needs to read this and realize, hey, we can go in, we have control.
You know, and obviously what BootKamp are doing is very smart. It's how you should be playing it, by using those positions for formation and delay. You see the Prisma set up by the Alibi as PZD is not buying any of this here. Grenade's gonna get lobbed up top, and there you go, Duds! It's gonna be down and out as Intact comes in from the side, gets the kill on PZD. It's a trade-off. The Jaeger with the Bandit so low on health, the sledge will get removed, and Julio walking in very slowly. Seiya is already, no, oh no, now he's gotta pick up the C4, try to play it again. It will connect though. Fortunately for him, as Julio goes down, but no!
What?
That was the C4 from his teammate that fell from the top. Oh my god.
Psycho gets intact as well, so what seemed like a boot camp round after that initial C4 is now a NiP round. They have isolated the B bomb site, and they will be going for a plant in this last 30 seconds. Paula inside of Customs, answering his phone. M-King choosing not to. Goes for the shots, will down the WAG, and Paula from the side gets Psycho. So it's all up to Kamikaze in the 1v2, and he's just not able to make it work. Paula and M-King together clutch the round. BootKamp should have had that in the bag, but it was a lot harder than it needed to be.
That was
Weird round.
interesting.
That's the word again.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. They set up the C4 to blow it up as soon as because they already had a Valkyrie camera upstairs, they set up the C4 from the Bandit to play it. Unfortunately, as they were trying to open up a bit of a bigger hole for the explosion to hit, it falls to the floor and the Bandit forgets, actually, this is my own teammate is on this. He just, you know, one of the memes like, is this a teammate? And he blows his teammate up.
So Seiya dropped that C4 deliberately because there was nobody over on that side of the top floor, and he was trying to be helpful, but clearly there was a miscommunication, and Intact did not hear that Seiya had dropped his C4. Nobody told him apparently, and that's how the TK eventually happened.
Alrighty then. Well, NIP with the plays so far, I mean, they've had the advantage for the past 2 rounds.
They've been losing a lot in a row. It's been 3 in a row, in fact, for BootKamp after 4 in a row for NiP. So a complete rally for BK. They seem to really like the defensive side. And again, this is all because of that last round on the first half where they managed to get their first attacking win. If it were not for that, we would still see a really, really treacherous traverse from BootKamp, and likely, I mean, they would likely would see a much different result at this point.
The thing is, and this is one thing that NIP kind of understood, they were trying to force themselves into the blitz a bit too much. This trap that a lot of teams, including NIP, fall into way too often. So now they're gonna change up their setup here. On Tact will bring Julio on Thatcher, but they'll also have the grenades from PZD and Kamikaze, or on the Sledge and the IQ, respectively. Psycho, that's the big one. You got Ying on here with Candelas. So if you can push the top side, use the Candelas to your advantage, you can definitely shut down the defenders before they can waste too much time or do too much damage to you to get a plant on that top.
And that's always the end goal, get that diffused plant. And NiP have really struggled to do so in this match so far. They're going to be just working their way into the east stairs, and that's a really good position to have initially in this round. I said, yeah, we talked about using the electronics detector from IQ, but you gotta also keep in mind that there is a time limit to these rounds.
Yeah, so you gotta watch out for the amount of time you're spending on your utility.
It seems like PZD's not aware of the grenade that he could do onto that wall, but either way, Julio will use the Thatcher EMP to clear out the Bandit batteries, and it doesn't seem like Intact is going to trick. So control now for that wall in favor of NiP. However, they can't thermite it, and that's really what we've been talking about all day, so they're instead going to Hibana. Here comes the nade, so he is aware. He's going to deny the trick, but Duds reads it and kills PZD. A bit of a trade-off there. It means that they get to open the wall, but it also means they lose a player. So I would say even worth it for NiP.
To some extent, unfortunately, NIP did not use the easier angle to chuck in their grenade.
Yeah.
To make things bit easier.
You don't have to go into the hallway.
Yeah, and that's why you don't go into the hallway, because then you can combo. If you time it right between the Thatcher, the Hibana, and of course the grenades, you can definitely make it happen. Julio just coming in directly for the plant as is going to completely blindside their opponents. They're just shucking candelas. Paulo will get one on Kamikaze. Still 5v3. Now a 5v2. A Psycho will drop down. Try and defend it. Paulo, though, finds the angle as he tries to run away. And it's all onto Wog as he gets one shot onto Seiya. This is perfectly planted for him. Wog with a beautiful position in the south balcony. Do the attackers know? Because Hibana does not have those claymores anymore. And BootKamp will clutch it out. Put the extra W on the board. 4-4. Oh boy. NIP, not again. Not like this.
So they got the defuse plan, and I really have to commend their ingenuity, their ability to see the landscape and just push their way in through the window, get that defuse plan as close to their opponents as possible, but then immediately after, BootKamp with the rally, just fragging out one after another, Nip with no response whatsoever, and yeah, that was a great position there from the Hibana, but it's not able to cover the diffuser in whole, so even if he had not died there, he would not have been able to stop the Jaeger from planting, or from disabling that diffuser without jumping in, and at that point you leave yourself exposed to the secondary defender. So a nice try from Nip, but we've got complete equalization, and I think BootKamp now in the driver's seat, considering that they are on defense. They will have the edge moving forward. They get to go on to Armory Archives of all sites to get that 5th round. And we're going to have to see something pretty insane from Nip.
Oh boy. We're going to see the same play as we did before with the Rook, but this time with the Doc.
Yeah, okay. I mean, hopefully, I'm just gonna hope that he actually realizes that he should not do that. I mean, it was Seiya last time, but who knows? Maybe he'll also commit. You know, the reasoning behind it was, of course, the crossfire. So the reason BootKamp they can get a crossfire between the players in CCTV, the players in cafeteria, and that makes it really hard for the attackers to push in through the doorway. But nades are nades. PCD's good at placing them. And yeah, Doc might be able to save you from that fate, but it's very dangerous. They are also going to have the Jaegers, probably going to put one in cafeteria if they go for that roam again.
Now, one thing that we still see the Doc doing quite a bit is just holding in the back of the armory, because then you have a longer sight line by the lockers and just using the ACOG to your advantage. So, obviously, you know, I mentioned that spawn peak early on. It's not something that, well, I had to say that.
Inches away from death right now. Paula really dancing with the devil. Dud's also trying to do so. Psycho with the one tap. Paula dispatched. And that is a huge misplay from BootKamp. I get it. You want kills. That is not a practical challenge. Even if you have an ACOG there, the attacker has so much advantage. He's on rappel, he can be more mobile, and you are so predictable in your peak. I really have to question the decision-making from these early deaths on BootKamp's side.
I was gonna say, like, oh, you'll keep him playing in the back of the armory because, you know, it brings a lot to the table, and you can hold angles and. Yeah, when you peek against the IQ that's repelling outside and keep doing it with an Ella and a Doc for straight 15 seconds, you deserve to lose.
Yeah, no, it's a bit of a throw, and you know it's aggression that's just been checked, and I'm sure BootKamp will realize this moving forward and try to lock it up.
Yeah, looking how Duds has been trying to peek out every now and then, I'm not too sure if he's...
It seems they're not realizing it, yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go. Intact will go down, and that's a kill on the smoke by the Dokkaebi with the Mark 14. That's still trying to push up, and unfortunately for him, he pulls out in the wrong time. Low on health. As you see, the last 3 players from the defensive BootKamp are all playing in and around the hallway and CCTV. Wog will take down one, that's Duds out of play. M-King will rotate back as the calls give more info to the attackers of NIP. They hear that Seiya is in security room on his own. C4 thrown out as BootKamp will try to go for the aggression yet again, but those calls have only been silenced on one end. Seiya will peek in and grenade in the back. Psycho will take him out. M-King still peeking for the second. Get the down on the second one and the kill to turn into 1v3. Deagle is going to get pulled up here. Julio is with an easy finisher on M-King. And that is, again, one of those wowzers kind of rounds. That's a rut row right there.
Yeah, it is indeed a rut row. And we will go to the very last round of this map. But the reason that BootKamp lost that round is they were playing in CCTV. They kept peeking everything, and Nip was just like, oh, what? Free kills? Oh, what? Like shooting fish in a barrel? Oh, sure. Let's take that. We'll take the free kills. Yeah, I love that. That's fantastic. Thank you so much, BootKamp.
Yeah.
And
look back at round number 8. It'll be like, this round can fit so many runouts. Why?
What's with you in the memes today,
I don't know.
Hassan?
BK has infected me.
Is it his fault?
Yeah.
And we're not talking about the team right now. We're talking about BK201.
BK201.
But
Burger King 201.
Yeah, but yeah. So guaranteed draw for Nip if they don't get the win. Of course, if they get this. I keep saying guaranteed round. They will get a draw if they do not win. But this is the final round, so BootKamp are just fighting for a single point now.
They're fighting for their lives, and NIP definitely need those 3 points. This should have ended ages ago, looking at how Nip had a start early on. So I'm hoping that Nip does not throw this opportunity away, because they're gonna really feel bad if they tie 2 days in a row whilst they're already a bit lower in on the standings for Latin America.
Yeah, they right now are in 7th place as compared to BootKamp's 5th place, or Nip's in 7th place. BootKamp is in 5th place, and both teams really want this win. And neither of them are going to be happy if they come out the loser in this one. I mean, obviously, that's always true, but these guys are in precarious positions in terms of the leaderboard. And where Liquid, for example, they just won their last match. They have
13 points.
They have solidified that lead, and they can take a hit. Neither of these squads can.
Duds setting up his mute jammers. Very good idea to change the position on the jammer to the right side instead of the left side on the door, because it's a bit more.
Always harder to see.
Yeah, exactly, and otherwise it's a standard setup from the defenders. NIP, when they were playing on the defense here, they were running more of a bandit setup with Julio. Well, here it's going to be a bit different, as I guess BootKamp finally realized they need to be playing a bit more, normally.
And they're going to be doing just that. This is a very passive hold here from BootKamp. It obviously is because of that last round. No more CCTV, just, hey, let's wait on the site and see where the attackers come from. And I have to commend them for their ability to adapt mid-match. And it might be just the trick that they need to get the draw. But Nip obviously want those extra points. They're gunning for it, and it's not all over yet, as we still have plenty of time for them to commence this attack.
PZD on the sludge drone on in. Realize there's a mute jammer slowing things down, but it did not slow down Wog, who's on the Habana, and already opened up a hole in that armory wall. So NIP early on checking out the checklist, making sure that they have advantage in that. BootKamp just sitting back, and they will use the mute in the back to play from the half wall and peek against his opponents if need be. But Psycho coming around from the side will get the kill on the Jaeger.
Wow, that patience from Psycho, really impressive. He held the angle through the hole that was opened up by the defenders earlier in the round from below for a solid 30 seconds, and he managed to get a kill as a result. And that is a very important kill. Every single head that can be lobbed off here is going to help the attackers, or the defenders even, in the most monumental way, because we're dealing with a situation where it's coming back down to the last 30 seconds before the push actually comes out, and those are always, who has the most manpower.
Well, say at least getting info on where the sludge is set up. You would think that, oh, there we go, the Dokkaebi hack will come out. PZD chucks the grenade right into Duds. And that's the kill that NIP were really looking for. Intact playing along the side here. as he'll try to contest in the office. Does not go for fire just yet. Pulls out the shotgun, gets down before he can do anything with it. As M-King finally finds the head of PZD. PZD had already taken out intact. Kamikaze with one, M-King one, and then Kamikaze to clean things out with a 2K with the SMG-12. GG, well played. NIP will secure their first win of the season. 3 points.
And well done indeed. They had a bit of a scary situation there where they were losing 4 rounds in a row. However, in the end, they managed to lock it out and get that W. And I'm sure they're happy about it.
Yeah, you see 14 kills from Psycho on
Jeez.
top of the board. It's not like M-King or Palu were doing, you know, any worse, really. It's just kills on their own don't matter. They change the you know, the shape of the scoreboard. They make things a bit easier for your team and push you a bit closer towards victory, but it's all about objective play as well. And unfortunately, if you keep going out for runouts against an IQ that's repelled and